Hello everybody, Flik here and welcome to Let's Chat, my weekly vlog series posted every Monday at lunchtime. And yes, I will be a little hoarse because of another bad night thanks to hay fever, coupled with me recording this quite early for once. Anyway, what have we got planned today? Well, first of all, we're going to do Patreon shoutouts for those who supported me on my Patreon page for the month of June. Then I'm going to do questions and answers from Twitter and last week's Let's Chat comment section. And then finally, I'm going to finish on discussing a little bit about a new push YouTube is making with regards to mid-roll advertisements. But first, let's go straight to the Patreon shoutouts. I think this might be a long one, that's why I'm rushing ever so slightly, so apologies. But yes, the following people supported me through the month of June, and thank you very much to each and every person I'm about to mention. So let's start at Joe Coulthard, Sash, otherwise known as Dragonakis, Paul Olsen, Coulson McDonald, Taya Blake, Fraser Macbeth, apropos of nothing, Gary, otherwise known as CR, Silver, Good Rory, Matsumune, Ippo, Usi Kaleo, Michael Millward, otherwise known as Galeforce Gaming, Travelling Panda, Epic Fail V2, I made a pretty epic fail of pronouncing your name there, and James Kilgore. Thank you very much. Also, I'm sending out business cards to those who have it, and I'll also start arranging the dedications from this point. I actually have a massive backlog of videos, so it might be a little while before the people who are due dedications and videos might hear them. I recorded like all of Transformers, it's all done now. I've recorded a bunch of Dark Souls in advance, and because the parts of Dark Souls are so long, I haven't been able to upload like say 2 a day like I did for the console playthrough. So yeah, you might not hear it for a little while, but they will be done. I have a notepad full of stuff to do. So yes, thank you very much. And also, there are some people who are still patrons, but I think either because the site changed the way it does payments or your payment info was wrong or something like that, it keeps on declining every month. So if you're wondering why I'm not giving out your name as a thank you, that's why. Anyway, let's move on and go back to last week's Let's Chat, which I have open in the comment section here. Let me just move this window out of the way so I can see the comments fully. And we'll scroll down to the bottom and get started. Oh, that's right, the time before, someone asked for some suggestions on animes they could watch that had a similar vibe to Dragon Ball Z in terms of pacing, not too much gore, etc, etc. So you actually got a lot of answers, so if you're listening, be sure to go check the comment section of the Let's Chat where I asked. People suggested, let's see, One Piece, Hunter x Hunter is another one that someone suggested. What else? Soul Eater. Apparently it's kind of slow at the beginning though. I never watched the anime of Soul Eater, I just read the manga. Someone else suggesting Hunter x Hunter, also One Piece again. Fairy Tail, Soul Eater again. Maho Sensho, haven't heard of that one. And that's about it, but that's a lot to choose from. Also, apparently some comments are hidden because they're probably spam. No, there shouldn't be any spam comments. Unless someone posted a link and it's been caught in my spam filter automatically. I'll need to check that afterwards. Anyway, we'll get back to the proper questions now. Hey Flik, oh this is from Poison Skull. Hey Flik, you should make a couple of videos about that Coin Raider or whichever it is actually called. It looked pretty entertaining to me. But if it wouldn't make a good series, that's fine, just a thought. I think you're talking about Coin Crypt. I did consider it, the same with Wizard's Lizard as well. It's just that right now I've got too big a backlog of stuff, so I don't really have the space to fit in another series. That said, Transformers isn't going to last me. It was a really short game, it was shorter than The Amazing Spider-Man 2, so although I've got a backlog, it's only going to be 11 parts, and then it's going to be done. I was expecting it to last me the month of June, so then I could, July, so then I could start looking into stuff to play for the tail end of the month. It's looking like it's going to barely manage half. So I might consider doing something like that, because something like Coin Crypt or a Wizard's Lizard, even if the runs were long, although in Coin Crypt's case I'm very bad at it, so I don't think that would ever be a thing that happened. Because they aren't graphically... how's the nice way to say this? They don't look overly pretty. Is that the nice way to say it? The video sizes often come out really, really small, so they're easy for me to upload as well as something else. So yeah, I would consider it. I'm not sure how many people enjoyed Coin Crypt though, the Let's Look At I did of it. I did get some people on the Wizard's Lizard look at, the second one I did, of the actual finished version, saying that they would like it, although in that case, the start of the game is always the same, so I'm not sure how repetition would suit it, to be honest. But yeah, I am considering it. I want a really good roguelike that I can do a long series on. Spelunky is kind of like that right now, but Spelunky isn't actually proving that popular on my channel. It's the least popular thing I'm doing right now, believe it or not. Even compared to these vlogs, which I know not everybody is interested in because it's not really gaming technically. I was kind of holding out for The Binding of Isaac Rebirth because I'm really looking forward to playing that. I've played a lot of The Binding of Isaac, it's just I've never done any videos on it because I kind of missed the boat on that one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, the remade version. Apparently it's going to have a small exclusivity period on PS4 as well. I have the means to record that, so it's another reason to do it. It's just getting delayed a little bit. Apparently there's a date being thrown around of September, but I don't think that came from Edmund Macmillan, so I'm not sure if anyone can believe that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, so that's why I'm trying not to get too invested in a different roguelike until that comes out, because I really want to do a lot of that, because I really like playing Isaac. Anyway, Broken Glass 0227. Do you ever play any JRPGs, and if so, what are a few of your favourites? Oh, and then he added, oh dear lord, I sleep with a fan on every night. That's in relation to that Korean folktale we were talking about last time. I do play JRPGs. I used to play them all the time when I was younger because I had the time to invest in, 80-hour games where I would do every single secret. I'd go and get powerful enough to beat every weapon in a Final Fantasy game, for example. Recently, what was the last JRPG I played? Jeez, it's probably been a while. I'm looking at my shelf to see if there's any on there that I've kept. Lost Odyssey on Xbox 360. It was an exclusive to that, made by the people who made the original Final Fantasies, not the newer ones. I really, really liked that game. It was the best JRPG I'd played for quite some time, even though it technically was, it was on the least selling console in the Japanese market, but it had the traditional Japanese stuff as well as a really good plot and very touching short stories written by a Japanese author. You had to be willing to read walls of text, but some of them were very moving. So yeah, I really liked Lost Odyssey, and I highly suggest picking it up. You'll be able to find it for pennies at this point. It was definitely one of the best RPGs, or JRPGs, that I played on the 360. Other than that, I'm not sure. It has been a long time since I've been really invested in a JRPG. But as I say, it's the same kind of reason why I don't get invested in MMOs. I don't have the time. I wish I did. I wish I had the time to stick with my Japanese studies, but I've neglected that. If I was to go back into learning Japanese at this point, even though some of it's stuck in my head, I'd still have to start from scratch just to remind myself of all the basics again. Having not enough time, you would think I would, considering I technically pick my own work hours, but I'm dedicated to producing high quality content, or the highest quality I'm able to produce with the limitations of whatever I have available. And time is always a factor. Or time is always an issue, I guess is the better way to say it. Moving on. Another comment from Poison Cole about the legend, I always sleep with the fan on, and I'm still kicking, but if you believe it then by all means don't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't sleep with a fan on. Or I can't really. Actually, that's probably why I didn't get much sleep last night as well, because I kept my PC on to very quickly upload some short videos of Ninja Storm Revolution. The demo just came out on PS3 after getting delayed, so it's kind of like, oh, this is the tentpole moment for this game, I better get them out quick. I might do a proper let's look at of it as well at some point, but I'm not going to be recording much today because I bet you're probably thinking this as you hear, it sounds a bit painful, doesn't it? Like, or it sounds like I'm in pain as I speak. I'm not, it's just I've got a sore throat. Moving on. Gale Force Gaming. Not sure where the sub Naruto is, but the dubbed is way behind. We are just starting Naruto's training with Killer Bee. Jesus Christ, that is miles back. Well, in that case, if anyone just following the dubbed anime sees the box to Ninja Storm Revolution, you are going to get massively spoiled because it shows who Toby is. It shows some other stuff that I won't go into. Yeah, that's a strange... That is way, way behind. I know that the Japanese anime is... It's in the middle of the war. In the middle of the tail end of the war, actually. So they won't get stuff spoiled. Or maybe they will a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, for people who only watch the dubbed, that's pretty bad. Actually, as a side thing, I was going to mention this towards the end, but I'll mention it now because I got on to talking about Ninja Storm Revolution. The demo is only in English. I hate the English voice acting for Naruto. I can't stand it. But playing it has made me see that indeed the American voice actors for Sasuke and Itachi, they do not know how to pronounce Amaterasu. They do pronounce it Amaterasu, which is wrong. One of the first things you learn when you learn Japanese is how to pronounce the Japanese language. And one of the first things I was taught when I was learning it, was that the SU at the end of Japanese words is very often, 99% of the time, silent. Or very slightly sounded. You don't actually pronounce it fully as a syllable, although it's not technically a syllable because Japanese languages don't work like that, but you say des, you don't say desu, unless you're kind of making fun of that meme. So the first time I was playing the demo, and the special for Itachi and Sasuke are both to do Amaterasu together, and they both go Amaterasu, and I burst out laughing. So I'm so glad I wasn't recording my voice, I was just recording the gameplay. And the reason I find it funny is because if you're familiar with Prinnies in the Disgaea games, Prinnies say dude as a kind of speech impediment type thing, dude as in D-O-O-D. The Japanese Prinnies say su, and they put it at the end of words that shouldn't have it, and the words that do have it, they overly pronounce it. So this got it stuck in my head that they're pronouncing it like Prinnies would. So I said on Twitter, please somebody draw Itachi and Sasuke as Prinnies, because I found it so funny. In front of an American flag, because it's the 4th of July on the day I'm recording this. And Travelling Panda drew it. So look at the screen right now if you usually just listen to these, because you will see Sasuke and Itachi as Prinnies standing in front of the American flag. That's a very niche joke if I've ever done one, but I honestly find it hilarious, so I'm very thankful that he drew that. I love it a lot. It's very funny to me. A little bit of backstory though, if you haven't heard. A long time ago I did a mod spotlight for Skyrim of a Naruto Jutsu mod for that, which added a bunch of them, and I pronounced most of the names correctly. The one I struggled with was Byakugan. I always forget how to pronounce that one correctly. In fact, I think I messed it up there as well. But I know that I can pronounce Amaterasu properly, and I got a lot of flaming, a lot of really, really hurtful, disgusting comments. You won't see them on the video now because I removed them all, or most of them that I could be bothered with. But it's because of the arrogance of the American audience who think that their voice actors are pronouncing it correctly. I know now that it's not just them thinking I can't pronounce words, it's they're going by what they hear in their version, and their version is wrong. American voice actors don't always make the effort to pronounce things correctly. An exception, actually, is Kyle Hibbert. You may know him as the dub voice for Kiba in Naruto, or what else? He's Adult Gohan in basically all dubbed Dragon Ball Z, and he does a really good job. He gets really into his roles. I am actually a fan of his work. I remember him once going on a bit of a tirade on Twitter because he was getting shit from fans about how he pronounces Hadouken, because he is the dub voice of Ryu in basically everything that has him in it. And he went on this tirade, like, he spoke to Capcom of Japan specifically to learn how to pronounce the technique names. Like, also, I'm not going to say it, but the one where Ryu spins like, with his foot. So he makes the effort. Other people don't, or they've just been misinformed. They are pronouncing it wrongly, but now I know why people get so angry at me when they think I pronounce it wrongly, because they are going by a bad example. But just to be clear, they're not pronouncing it correctly. Listen to the Japanese audio if you want to hear it correctly. So that went on a wild tangent. I can't overstate though, I was really hurt by some of the disgusting comments I got on that video years ago now. So that's why it sticks in my mind. And also I do find it hilarious that it signals to me how Prinnies act in Japanese Disgaea games. Anyway, moving on. We've still got a long way to go. Artemis the crew. Artemis... Yeah, oh yeah, you've been busy, haven't you? Oh, I've missed a lot of these videos lately. Hello, here's a question. What's your opinion on Kane, Legacy of Kane? The ones with Razio. I absolutely loved those games. I loved every single one of them. I didn't mind the gameplay, but I thought the story was fantastic. Razio was voiced by one of my favourite voice actors. I think he's called... Is it Alex Bell? His surname is Bell. He also does a voice in Lost Odyssey, for the record. Yep, I loved his voice. I like Kane's voice actor as well. He did the villain in the first Dragon Age, if you're more familiar with him in that. And the guy who did the big monster, unfortunately he's passed away now. But yeah, I love the voice actors and I really love the plot. I still remember the finale to one of them where you realise that the inevitable fate of what Razio was going to have happen to him, and the ending on like the screen on text, history forebodes a paradox, and then that's just where it ends. And Defiance was the final one. I don't like that one, it was too much combat, but the story was still really, really good. It ended on a cliffhanger as well, which is really annoying, because I don't think there's going to be another one, especially because, you know, one of the main voice actors died, sadly. I'd love there to be though. Yeah, I really highly recommend all of them just from a story perspective. The ones back on the Dreamcast were more puzzle based, so if you don't like really slow paced puzzle games, they probably won't be for you. If you like brawlers, or brawlers in the American sense I mean, then Legacy of Kain Defiance is pretty good. I think it does a recap as well, so you don't need to have played the previous games. It's been a little while since I played it though. Yeah, but they're really great. I still remember playing the original Legacy of Kain on PS1 and even really liking that, even though it's in a totally different style to the ones where you play as Raziel. But yeah, really, really good. Doomsday, otherwise known as Good Rory. You forgot about when the animation in Naruto goes to hell, like in the second part of the pain fight. Oh yes, I forgot. Also, I was wondering at what point do you think Bleach started going downhill? I don't think I've asked this before. It went downhill at the tail end of the Aizen arc, where Aizen basically became a Mary Sue for Kubo Tide, and it just got awful. Aizen was a Mary Sue. What's his name back in this final arc is another Mary Sue. Tide can't write. He just is terrible at writing, so it went downhill from there. Actually, the worst part was definitely that Fullbring stuff. That was basically canon, not canon. It was like canon filler, which is amazing. It was filler that came from the actual author. I don't know what the hell he was thinking during that. And yeah, the animation in anime bothers me a lot. That's why I don't watch most of it anymore. I think I've talked about it before, but long-running animes, Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece as well, does it have an anime? It must do, surely it must. All these long-running animes, regardless of what it is, the quality differs at random intervals based on which studio was given a given episode. They don't pace it out so that the well-animated studios always get the fight episodes. I think the example I used before is towards the end of Dragon Ball Z, the start of the final fight between Goku, Vegeta and Kid Buu. The animation for that first fight, where they do rock, paper, scissors, and then Goku just has like a warm-up, and then the episode ends with him going Super Saiyan 3. The animation in that episode is astonishingly good. The next episode, astonishingly bad, and it's the main part of the fight. And that's just because a different studio handled it. So yeah, it's the problem with Japanese anime and the fact that it doesn't follow seasons. Although actually, Attack on Titan, the anime for that, does go in seasons. So the anime quality should probably be more consistent. I don't know for sure because I haven't watched the anime of Attack on Titan, but it should be in theory because they do it in seasons. And more Japanese anime should, in my opinion. It's one of the things we get right in the West. DRC, 0, all the numbers. Soulater, oh, that's a reply to the person asking for advice on animes. Lucas Chin says, thank you for the advice. That was in regards to how to fight using the gun lance last time in Monster Hunter. And he just got the Grimcat axe. I have that. In fact, I have the upgraded version now, although I stick with the Deos one instead. Brandon Daigle, thoughts on exclusives if not covered before? What kind of exclusives are you referring to? If you mean pre-order DLC that kind of gets shared around different retailers, I am very, very, very against that. It's stupid. It's a little bit of, it's a way for a publisher to get a bit more money because they get, at least I assume this is how it works, they get retailers to bid on various versions, and that resulted in stuff like there being 12 different versions of Watch Dogs you would have to buy to get all the pre-order bonuses, which is stupid. So yeah, I'm massively against that. Other exclusives, what other way could you have meant that? Stuff exclusive to a given console, yeah, that's fair enough. I would prefer that everything was on everything, but I know that's not practical. So like say something you want is on Wii U, but you don't have a Wii U. I don't think you should ever buy a console just for one game, even though I don't always practice what I preach. So yeah, I don't like it in that sense either, but that's more justifiable than pre-order exclusives. Matsumuni, who would win in a fight? Your Monster Hunter character or your Dark Souls 2 character? Okay, well let's assume my Monster Hunter character is using a gun lance, so he can block and he can charge and he can fire. And let's assume that my Dark Souls 2 character is the lightning spamming guy on the box one I've been using for the PC playthrough, who isn't very good at breaking guard, because I can never do the button presses properly for it. So, I would say my Monster Hunter character would do it. I think. I'm actually curious, anyone who follows both series, my Monster Hunter series and my Dark Souls 2 on PC playthrough, who do you think would win if my two characters duked it out? I'm curious. I think Monster Hunter would swing it, I think. Moving on. Magic Mumbo, look at my horse is amazing, give it a lick, it tastes like raisins. No. Interesting as always, Flik. Starbound is in early access, but it's come a long way since the weekly wipes. I also hear the servers are more stable these days. Well, that's good to know. And remember, good things come to those who wait. Oh yeah, Magic Mumble's been saying some really weird stuff to me lately, and I'm not entirely sure what this is leading up to, but if I suddenly die in mysterious circumstances, then I think he's probably to blame, so please stop him before he kills again. Guildforce Gaming with another comment. Been playing the Tales series again, just wondering if you ever played any of them, and if not, why not? Yes, actually, I tried Tales of Vesperia. Whichever one that is, with Yuri Lothanio, or whatever his name is, voicing the lead. I liked the story, I liked kind of where it was going. The battle system I didn't like, so I didn't stick with the game. I just don't like that style of battle system. Does that class as JRPG? Because that was probably the last one I played. So I think that's about it for comments on last week. So there was actually a lot. And as I say, there was a lot of advice about other animes for the person who wanted them. So by all means, go back and read. I'm actually going to press on some comments are spam, because I'm curious what it thinks is spam. Is it going to show me? It's loading. It's loading, people. Come on. One of Magic Mumbo's. Oh, he's linked to Father Ted's My Lovely Horse. I will approve that, because there's absolutely no reason that should be hidden. There we go. Right, I could have sworn there was another comment somewhere. Oh, maybe it was Twitter. Okay, we'll move to Twitter now, because we're running on really long here. So Magic Mumbo was asking about the Scottish Games Expo. I think it's happening in October. I may try to get to that. I am not sure yet. I'm going to try and get a press pass, but they haven't opened up applications for that yet, so I don't know whether it'll be accepted. If I don't get a press pass, it's very unlikely I'll go, but I might, depending on what the price is. And who's going to be there, actually, how big a showing they're going to get. This is the first kind of thing of this type Scotland is going to hold, so I'm not sure how many developers and publishers are going to bother. I hope there's a turnout, that's all I can say. Mike Schumacher says, "All hail Prinny's dude." That's in relation to me retweeting the picture that Panda drew for me. And then Sasha, if you want to upload faster, come to Edinburgh and use my connection. The travel time would kind of offset the extra speed of uploading. It would be nice to get like 3 weeks worth of videos uploaded, but no. God, I mean, what happens if I died the next day after? You'd still get 3 weeks of videos where I'm all cheerful and I would be dead. That's horrible. Sasha said, "Who would you most like to do a collab video with on all of YouTube or the world?" Well, I suppose technically if I was thinking purely from a financial gain point of view, I'd obviously have to say someone with a ridiculously large following, but I'd rather say someone I think I'd probably just enjoy collabing with. Let's see. So we're talking people with bigger channels than me then. I would say Northern Line. I'm quite a fan of his content. I think he strikes a good balance between entertainment and silliness, while also keeping up an air of positivity, which, you know, we were talking about this last time. There's enough negativity on the internet as it is, so I'd rather put a positive spin on things. He tries to do that quite a lot. So yeah, I'd say, I'd probably say him. Who else? I'd be happy to work with Dodger again, if there was the opportunity in the future. I think we got on quite well, even if it was just from a working standpoint, rather. So yeah, those two would spring to mind. Anyone else? I'd probably have to sit and think for longer than I'm willing to while I'm, recording as I go, so those are my answers for now. I'll think on it. If I think of anyone else, I'll mention it next week. So that concludes the Q&A session of this week, and I feel my throat wavering, which is bad because I still want to talk about one more thing here. But if you have any questions, comments, etc. of your own, please do leave them in the comment section, or tweet at me on Twitter when I ask. I usually ask on the day, like a few hours before I record, so it's usually the Friday, like it is today on the 4th of July. And also a belated, what do you say to celebrate the 4th of July? Do you say happy 4th of July? Because that just sounds weird. Have a fun 4th of, or I hope you had a fun 4th of July to my American listeners. I don't know how you properly, do you just crack a beer open and headbutt each other? That'd be quite fun. That's a very Glaswegian thing though. Anyway, to end on, the main thing I wanted to talk about was mid-roll ads on YouTube. YouTube is doing a massive push right now to get people to use more mid-roll ads, and if you don't know what that means, currently you have pre and post-roll ads. That's the ad at the start of the video and the ad at the end of the video, which is very much the norm. Mid-roll ads have always been a thing, but YouTube has now actively started making sure everybody knows that it is a thing they can do. I had already guessed, based on the tickable options I get in the ads section of a video, what the cutoff for mid-roll ads were, but now YouTube is actually telling everybody. And if you're curious, a video that is at least 10 minutes long can have mid-roll ads. So that means if you wanted, you could do a 10-minute video and have an ad break 5 minutes in. That is scummy to me, personally. That's just my personal opinion. In fact, I would think a 20-minute video with a ad break in the middle is deplorable. But again, that's just my opinion on the subject. So I was thinking, where would the cutoff be for me? If I still did podcasts that were an hour and a half long or sometimes 2 hours long, I would be absolutely fine with doing mid-roll ads on that, maybe even 2 breaks rather than just one directly in the middle. I think that is fair for the level, or the length rather, of entertainment that you're getting over that large period of time. But how far would I be willing to go down? And the eventual decision I came to is that I think the cutoff for a mid-roll ad for me personally will be if a video is at least 40 minutes. So on a video of mine that is at least 40 minutes long, or not exactly 40 minutes on the dot, it's going to have mid-roll ads. What does that mean? It's not guaranteed, it might do a banner ad along the bottom of the video halfway through. So if you only listen to my videos rather than watch, like if you're doing work or something at the same time, not going to make a difference to you in the slightest. Rarely it does actually play a full ad, but again, it'll have the skip button. So if you don't want me to earn anything, then you can still ignore it. And obviously if you use adblock, you don't get any ads at all. But do keep in mind that using adblock helps make content creators poor, so we have to stop doing this, and then you get less content, so please do keep that in mind. It is interesting that they're doing this mid-roll ad push though. It is definitely because ad revenue is down as a result of people using adblock and so on. I remember once watching it was a Warhammer 40k battle report on YouTube. It was like an hour long, and when I clicked on it, it had 7 ads. And I wondered why. I thought the person was being ridiculously greedy. I still think they were, but I don't know if this is a flaw, I think this is actually by design. If you go into the mid-roll ad setting, well, you get the pre-ad tick box, you get the post-ad tick box, and in between them you've got mid-roll ad. If you tick that, you then get a secondary tick box that says, would you like to manually set when the ad happens? In other words, you can set it so that it's directly in the middle of the video, or say there's a lull, like, I don't know, you just finish a major fight and you're going through your loot. That's a nice natural place where, say if it was a TV show, you would have a break. That's fine. But if you let YouTube handle it by itself, it tries to put ads all the way through. Like, I tried it on a 40-minute video. I thought, right, I'll see what YouTube thinks is acceptable for ads in a 40-minute video. I ticked the mid-roll ad, and there was an ad at 5 minutes, there was an ad at 8 minutes, there was an ad at 12 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. No one would watch a video with that many ads. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. And I hope that everybody who does try mid-roll ads don't just tick it and leave it up to YouTube, because YouTube will destroy your audience by accident. No one will watch that many ads. Or if they don't destroy your audience, they'll push your audience to use bloody ad block, so then you'll end up earning less anyway. So if you are using mid-roll ads, if you're a YouTuber yourself, where the cutoff for ad breaks for you is, it might be different to me, but all I'm saying is don't let YouTube handle it automatically. Do not do that. Do it manually, for God's sake. And it is always important to keep in mind that if YouTube was a TV show, a TV station rather, you would be getting 3 minutes of ads every 15 minutes. So always keep that in mind if you get pissed off at the amount of ads on YouTube. It is still less than television and movies. Well, actually, how many minutes of movies do you get, advertisements rather, do you get at the start of a movie these days? I haven't watched a movie in the cinema since Star Wars Episode 2. I'm guessing it's at least 5 minutes, but then again, then you get a 2-hour movie or whatever. So, okay, maybe movies are actually better. So, TV is the worst, then YouTube, then movies. I would actually say music TV stations are probably in there somewhere as well, because they're more ad than music at this point. But we are approaching half an hour here, and I think I've discussed the notion enough. So I just wanted to make it very clear, there will be mid-roll ads on some of my videos. They will be at least 40 minutes long, or I think I did them on one that was like 39 minutes 40 seconds. I hope you don't think that's too scummy of me. I think getting a mid-roll ad that you can skip, or you can ignore if you just listen to the videos, is not too deplorable. And it's certainly not as bad as what YouTube is expecting. But also, if you see a video with a ridiculous number of ads, keep in mind it's not necessarily the person being greedy. Maybe they just didn't realise when they ticked the box that YouTube then puts an ad like every 3 minutes or something. It's hilarious how bad it looks. But yeah, I think I'm going to stop now. Thank you very much for listening. And once again, thank you also to Panda for drawing that very silly picture that, it's basically a joke that only I think is funny, because you would have to know this guy, you would have to know Japanese, you would have to know Japanese printies, you would have to know the technique in Naruto that I'm making fun of. and you would have to know the vitriol I once got from fans. But anyway, enough is enough. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.